and Anytown Assembly, which is the green team. And the way we're going to do it, we're going to make this Anytown, and they are green. Please note I'm circling it. The quizzers for the Anytown Assembly. You can make them anything you want, but it's my test, so I'm going to make them what I want. My 4 quizzers are Troy, Heidi, DJ, and Justin, my 4 kids. That's my team. I stand by it. The red team is going to be First Assembly. They are the red team. The 4 quizzers are 4 of the quizzers from my past that I have quizzed with me. And number 1 will be BJ. He was the children's pastor's son at my church in Minnesota. Love BJ. The next one, I've already mentioned Michelle. She was the one that would have known that 30-point answer in order and would have gotten it right. The next one was my 1 Master Seal quizzer in the short time that I was in Michigan. His name was Todd. Number 4 is a young man who is now a coach for one of my teams here in this church. His name was Matthew Spry. Now, if you'll notice, with the last 2 pages in a score sheet, you'll be keeping score for a match between First Assembly red and Anytown Assembly green. Each team has 5 quizzers, 4 starters and a sub. You can name them whatever you want. This is what I want you to want. Okay? Make it easy for all of us. At the end of the match, you'll need to have the score for teams and individuals. Also, fill in the answers in the text. You make all substitutions as mandated by the rules. Suggestion, use a pencil for scorekeeping. You do not want to use a pen. It's very messy. You'll see how that happens shortly. Okay? So please use a pencil. All right. Now, we're going to go through some certain things here that are coaching tips. Some of them are not mandatory for a scorekeeper, but we're going to show it to you anyways. But this will help your strategy as a coach. The one thing that I did not do up here at the top, I'm not going to do the whole thing. Okay, right there. Yep. And then I'm going to go I should mark down here. Oh, yeah. And then this is just a coaching tip. If you're a coach, when you see how many questions have already come up in a match, you'll know how many points are available. For example, if you come to question 15 and you know that there are 3 20s left, that's going to help you as a coach. Well, I got a lot of 20s left in the last 5 questions. I'm going to have 3 out of 5 questions be 20s. If you've got a 20-point quizzer on your bench, you might want to consider calling a timeout and bringing a quizzer in that knows the 20s because you know 3 of the last 5 are going to be 20s. It can really be a helpful tool to identify the last 2 or 3 questions to know what point values they are. That's not mandatory for a scorekeeper. If you're an official scorekeeper, you don't have to worry about this. Okay? But it can help. If you are scoring by computer, which we use at regionals and nationals, and someday we're going to get to it in the district, some of this stuff may not be very relevant, but again, it's always good to know the principles behind it in case someday computers go down and we got to go back to paper scoring. So it's always a good thing to understand. So we're going to do a JBQ match and just take you through the match. Stop me when you have questions. Question number 1 for 30 points. Now, what you have on that sheet, I think it's got the point values pre-printed on the score sheet. Does it have the point value? No, it doesn't? Okay, good, good. That makes it even easier. Okay, question number 1 for 30 points. Somebody's already called the point of order. And in fact, it's the red coach that calls that point of order. The question is voided. Why? You cannot start a match with a 30-point question. Now, please understand, you can start a match with a 20-point question, but you cannot start a match with a 30. That is in the rule book, page 16 if you really care. Okay, so that's the answer. So number 1, Question for 10 points. Put in a 10 there. It is interrupted. Now, as a scorekeeper, this is going to be helpful for you. As a coach, this is going to be helpful for you. If a question is interrupted, circle it. That tells you as a scorekeeper, that tells you as a coach, this question has been interrupted. Because if it's interrupted, they have to finish the question and give the answer. And if they do either thing wrong on an interrupted question, it has to be reread for the other team. You already know that. This helps you remember, because it is easy to forget sometimes that a question has been interrupted. This is a tip for scorekeepers and coaches. Circle the question number if it's interrupted. Now, I'm going to put a mark here telling me now that now there's only 90 points worth of 10-point questions left because I've had one. Everybody see that? This is a coaching tip. Scorekeepers, you don't care about this. It doesn't matter. Okay? But as a coach, that'll help you. I would strongly suggest you do that. But you do not have to do it. Okay? All right. Now, question 1, interrupted correctly by red 3. Who is red 3? Who? Speak it out. Speak it out. Okay. Now, question 1. Todd gets it correct for 10 points. Everybody see this? Now, running total. Scorekeepers. I suggest you keep a running total. It'll make your job easier at the end of the match, but you're not required to. Coaches, I would suggest you keep a running total. It could be a strategical point for you later in the match. Again, you're not required to. I keep a running total when I coach, always. I want to know what the score is. Okay? So Todd gets 10, the team has 10. Everybody follow it? Okay. Question number 2 for 10 points. Put in that 10. Interrupted, circle the 2. Incorrectly by green 4. Who is green 4? Oh, okay, back up. Question 3 for 30 points. Here's what I did wrong. Okay, we've had 2 of the 10, so I scratched off 2 of the 10s. Question 3 is, well, I'm on question 2.
No, question 2, yeah.
Okay, let's do this again. Question 2 for 10 points. I scratch off this, so I know where I'm at. It was interrupted by red 3. Who is red 3? It is Todd. So now, he gets a positive 10, he gets a negative 5. The running total, 10 minus 5, means we have a running total of 5 points. Everybody see that? But, of course, being an interrupted question, it has to be reread, and the reread is answered correctly by green 1. Who is green 1? Troy. Question number 2. Troy. Now, please note, the 10 points is put under the column for question 2. Even though it's his first question in the match, I've seen people do this, you don't put it in the first column. It's question 2. Okay? Put it here. Okay, so now we have 2 10-pointers. I've scratched them both off, so that means I have 80 points left on 10s. Both of the questions have been interrupted. Troy got this one right. Todd got the first one right, the second one wrong. So our score after the end of 2 questions is 10-5. The green team is ahead. Everybody see that? Okay. Now, this part up here where I'm scratching off the point values and circling, I'm not going to continue to do that during the test here. I would suggest you keep doing it, but I'm not going to just because it is time consuming. And obviously I've already gotten confused once. Question number 3. Well, I'll do this one just because it's a 30. Question number 3 for 30 points. Scratch that off. Now there's only 60 points left on 30s. Interrupted incorrectly by green 4. Who is green 4? Justin. Okay. 10 minus 15 means the team total at this point is negative 5. Answered correctly by red 2. Who is Michelle? Who is red 2? Michelle. Okay. 5 plus 30. Running total makes 35. In fact, it was the question, 1 Corinthians chapter 12. Justin interrupted it before keyword gave the answer for 1 Corinthians 14. He gets it wrong. Michelle, as I told you before, knows the answer, and she would give it in order. Okay? So now, 35 to negative 5 is the score. Okay, now I will forego doing this at the top, okay, just because of the time involved. Question number 4 for 10 points. Interrupted correctly by green 3. Who is green 3? DJ. Question number 5 for 20 points. Answered. Please note it was not interrupted, so I'm not going to circle the 5. Answered correctly by green 4. Who is green 4? Okay. Justin always had a good habit. Even if he got one wrong, he would just move on to the next question. So good job, Justin. Question number 6 for 20 points. Interrupted correctly by red 1. Who is red 1? BJ. Okay. Question number 7 for 10 points. Interrupted incorrectly by red 3. Who is red 3? Todd. Okay. Question number 8 for 10 points. Point of order by the green coach before the question was read. Why? Question 7 was interrupted incorrectly and not reread for the green team. So question 7 for 10 points. Answered correctly by green 1. Who is green 1? Okay, now, question number 8 for 10 points. Interrupted correctly by red 3. Who is red 3? Todd. Okay, you can see Todd is very active on the buzzer, correct and incorrect, but he's hitting that buzzer. Question number 9 for 30 points. Interrupted incorrectly by red 2. Who is red 2? Michelle. Okay, I hear a question.
No, just surprised Michelle missed one.
Well, she probably buzzed in before keyword. You know, that happens. Even the best of quizzers buzz in early occasionally. Okay, answered correctly by green 4. Who is green 4? Okay. Question number 10 for 20 points. Interrupted incorrectly by red 1. Who is red 1? BJ. Minus 10. Okay. Now, answered correctly by green 2. Who is green 2? Heidi. Okay. Now, the red coach called for a judge's ruling. That's BJ's coach. Calls for a judge's ruling. The initial decision of incorrect has been reversed. What do we do?
Put a pen down, start using a pencil.
Put the pen down, yeah, okay. I'm going to go with that. Nobody's ever figured that out before, but I'm going to go with you. My marker works because it erases quickly. Belinda, what do? What am I going to do here? The red coach, oh, by the way, let's mark it down here. Judges vote. Okay, the judge called for it. They've used their first judge's vote or appeal. What am I going to do?
Give the points back to BJ.
Okay, BJ should have been counted correct for 20 points. Okay, now what else do I do?
Adjust the running total.
Adjust the running total, because BJ should have been correct. So we're going to adjust the running total. And we go on to the next question, right? Why?
You gotta take the points away from Heidi.
We have to take the points away from Heidi. I love my daughter, I really do. But the question should have been voted correct in the first place. She should never have heard the question. Unfortunately, Heidi, we have to take your, and I just had breakfast with her this morning. So we have to take those points away from her and the team total. Okay, now, at this point, after 10 questions, You should have a score of 65 to 65 for your running total. Both teams have 65. If you have something different, you're wrong. So let's find out. Does anybody have anything different? Okay, this is what, now please note, here's my philosophy. It's not right or wrong, it's just the way I do things. If nothing happened for a team in a given place, I don't change the running total. On this question here, question number 6 was answered by the red team. I didn't change the running total. That's the way I do it. If some people want to carry it over and just put another 25, that's fine. I think it's redundant, but it doesn't matter. Whatever way works best for you, coach, scorekeeper. Down here, I did the same thing. 2 questions in a row the other team got right. I didn't change it. Whichever you're more comfortable with. It really doesn't matter. Just for your own sake, be consistent. Question. Question number 11 for 10 points. Interrupted correctly by red 3. Who is red 3? Todd indeed. Question. Question number 12 for 10 points. Interrupted correctly by green 3. Who is green 3? DJ. Question. Question number 13 for 20 points. Interrupted correctly by green 4. Who is green 4?
Justin.
Justin. Question. Question number 14 for 10 points. Answered. It is not interrupted. Please note that. Let's say the question is, what is death? There is no key word. The last word is the key word. Okay? Answered, so it's not interrupted. Do not circle the 14. And it was answered incorrectly by red 3. Who is red 3? Todd. Quiz out. Who and why? Todd has 3 incorrect responses. Now, please watch. There are 2 ways of dealing with this little scenario here. Okay? The way I like to do it is to take the top of the next column, the next column, and draw a diagonal line like this. Okay? That's the way I do it. My wife, on the other hand, does it this way. She draws a vertical line, very thick, at the end of question 14. What we're doing, either way is correct. What do you like? I like one way, she likes the other. I am signifying now that Todd is coming out of the match. He's done. 1, 2, 3 incorrect responses. He's out of the match. However you choose to do it is up to you. But now we're going to put a substitute in, and my substitute is going to be a young girl that I had my first year at this church. She quizzed for 3 years, and her 3rd year she was 22nd in the country at the National Festival. She was a good quizzer. Her name was Ann Hope. Don't you dare call her Ann. She didn't like that. She wanted you to call her Ann Hope. I don't know if she's still like that. I haven't talked with her on Facebook for a long time. But Ann Hope is now in the match. She was not in for the first 14. This line tells me that, but she's in for question 15. Todd is out. Everybody see it? Now, I never did do the running total. Okay? Remember, it was not interrupted, so this question does not get reread for the green team. Okay. Question number 15 for 20 points. Interrupted correctly by green 4. Who is green 4?
Justin.
Okay, Justin got it. Question number 16 for 10 points. Interrupted, 16, interrupted, incorrectly by green 1. Who is green 1? Answered correctly by red 3. Who is red 3?
Hope.
Ann Hope. Not Todd. not and, not hope, and hope. We're going to get this right. That's question 16. Okay. Now, a foul is called on the green team. We're not told why. It doesn't matter. But we have a foul. What I normally do, because there's really not a good place for a foul during the course of the match, what I normally do is somewhere up in here, I put a -5 and I circle that -5. The only time I circle negatives are when they're 5s. So when I see a -5 with a circle, that tells me it is a foul. And the foul, according to what we have here, is on the green team. It was not on an individual. It is a team foul. Whatever happened was a team foul. Now, you'll see over here on the right, there is a place for team fouls. We'll bring this -5 over here later on. But what else do I need to do now? Running total. Whoever said that, we got to adjust the running total. So instead of 110, we actually have 105. We had 115. Troy got it wrong, and there was a team foul. -10. 115 minus 10 is 105. So at the end of 16 questions, you should have 105 for the green team, anytime assembly, 80 for the red team, first assembly. Question number 17 for 20 points. Interrupted correctly by green 4. Who is green 4? Justin. Excuse me. Question number 18 for 20 points. Interrupted incorrectly by green 3. Who is green 3? DJ. Interrupted it incorrectly. Answered correctly by red 4. Who is red 4? Matthew. We haven't heard from Matthew in this match yet. It's about time. He was a pretty good quizzer in his day. Question number 19. Now, what point value is number 19 without even looking? Has to be a 30, because you cannot begin or end a match with a 30, and we've only had 2 30s so far. So here's a strategy point, Coach. If you know after 18 questions you haven't gotten all the 30s, the next one has to be a 30, call a timeout and put both of your 30-point quizzers in if you have 2 30-point quizzers. You have a better chance of getting it. Okay? So we have a 30. And it is interrupted correctly by red 2. Who is red 2? Michelle. Okay. The score now is 130 to 115. The red team is ahead for the first time in quite a while. The red team is ahead. Question number 20 for 10 points. Interrupted incorrectly by red 3. Who is red 3? And Hope. Okay. Answered correctly by green 1. Who is green 1? Okay. What happens now and why? It is a time match, and we're going to go to overtime. But before we get to overtime, I'm going to give you 60 seconds to confer with your team, make substitutions if you want to, if you have any substitutes. But before we even get to that, why am I about to throttle my son Troy? Why am I going to wring his ever-loving neck? Coaches, this is a strategy point for you. Why do I want to hurt my son? Troy, to be specific. They're both my sons. Why do I want to hurt Troy? Beep, time is called. Oh, Stacy, go ahead. We'll give you the benefit.
Justin could have quizzed out.
Justin could have quizzed out on question number 20. Please note, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Had Justin quizzed out, he not only would have gotten the 10 points to tie the match, he would have gotten 10 bonus points, and we wouldn't have to go to overtime. We'd have won the match. And I'm going to wring Troy's neck Because in my timeout, or the timeout that this team called, I'm not going to call it timeout here, but when they called the timeout, I told my team, now guys, if there are any rereads, let Justin have the reread, because if he gets it, we get those 10 bonus points. Especially if it's the last question, the 10-pointer. We win the match if he gets that. Okay? Well, Troy took that because he wants those 10 points. But because of that 10-point loss we could have had, okay, strategy point. Okay? And Jody, I know you know this. Jasper, of course, knows this. Stacy and Belinda, you might not know this. Not every kid studies all the questions. I don't let them study all the questions. They can study them, but in competition, I give children certain jobs. I give them certain responsibilities. Justin, for the last 4 years of his career, studied nothing but 20s in competition. Now, by the time Justin was a 4th grader, he had his master seal. He knew all the 10s, all the 20s, all the 30s. That's why here, he probably hit his buzzer by accident or something. I'm making a score thing up here, so it's not perfect. And he gets one here, but it was a reread, if you notice. Like I said, Justin knew the 30s. Okay, so they let him get that reread. But Justin's job for the last 4 years of his JBQ career was 20s. 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. 3rd grader, he was 2nd in the state as a 3rd grader doing nothing but 20s. 4th grader, he was 2nd in the state doing nothing but 20s. Both years he missed 1st place by 5 points. As a 3rd and 4th grader doing nothing but 20 points. He was good. As a 5th grader doing nothing but 20s, he was 1st in the state. And then as a 6th grader, he just tanked. He was like 5th. He just had a lousy year. He just kept buzzing in early. But Justin knows the 10-pointers. Because for the first 4 years of his career, he did nothing but 10s. He knew those 10s, backwards and forwards. And here's Troy stealing those 10 points. We could have won the match. But I let Troy live this time. And now we're going to go to overtime. Now, in overtime, my choice is to do a 10, a 30, and a 20 in that order. That's the way I do it. I'm sorry. You know what? I lied. That's not the way I do it. I do it 20, 30, 10. Okay? It is not right or wrong to do it this way. It's just the way I do it. And every once in a while, I even do it differently, just because if Jasper's in the room and he knows that I'm going to do 20, 30, I might mess him up and just change it up just to be different. Okay? But that's the way I normally do it in this situation. Okay? So 20, 30, 10. So now we're in overtime. Let's go. Question number 21 for 20 points. Okay? It is interrupted correctly by green 4. Who is green 4? Justin. That's okay. Justin interrupts it. And let's see here. Quiz out. Who and why? Justin. Okay? He is quizzed out because it's his 6th correct. But one of them was in overtime. It doesn't matter. If he gets 6 correct, it is correct. Period. End of discussion. Okay? Now, scorekeeper. This is the way you do it if you're the scorekeeper. Put the 10 bonus points in the bonus points column. This is the right way to do it. This is the score right now. But if you're the coach of the team, you want to have the real score. You want to know what the real score is. So I would suggest you do something like this. 20 plus 10. Letting yourself as a coach know there's a bonus. And the score really is... Okay. The score really is 155 to 125. Okay? As a coach, I would suggest this because this is the real score. Those points count there. That's the score. Okay? But now we have a quiz out, so I'm going to do my normal. I'm going to draw my diagonal line, and I'm going to put a quizzer, a substitute here. I mentioned in the initial paragraph, every team has 5 quizzers. My substitute on this team, when I coached my kids 14 years ago, I had Troy, Heidi, and DJ on the team. Justin was our mascot. We actually let him quiz a couple times because he was a 4-year-old. Or no, he was a 5-year-old. at the end of the year. He turned 5 at the end of the year. And he actually got to quiz a couple of, and at nationals, as a 5-year-old, he actually got a question right at nationals. It was a reread, but by George, he did it. Then he also got a foul in another match that cost us a match, but that's beside the point. Okay? But we had a little girl by the name of Melissa Davis, who was not one of our kids, but she quizzed with us at regionals that year because she got to go to regionals with us. So I added her to the team. She couldn't make it to nationals, but Melissa is now my quizzer in green 4. Question number 22 for 30 points. Interrupted correctly by red 2. Who is red 2? Michelle. She's very active on those 30s. I mentioned a little bit ago strategy. If you're the coach of the other team and you see this score line for a quizzer, 30 minus 15, 30, 30, probably a good bet that this is their primary 30-point quizzer. Just guessing here. BJ does 20s. Looks like Todd does nothing but 10s. Kind of messed up a little bit here and there, but he looks... So, strategy. Okay, what's happening here? All right, last question. Question number 23 for 10 points. Okay, and it is interrupted correctly by green 4. Who is green 4? Melissa is green 4. And now we come to the end of the match. Take a moment now. I want you to get the correct individual total for all 10 quizzers. Okay? I have my proposal for the score 165 to 155, and I'll give you a hint, I'm right. But I want you to get the score for all 10 individuals. I'll give you just a minute. Okay. Hopefully you have the green team done now. I know Justin's is a little bit confusing because of all the numbers and the different values, but move on. Then go down to the red team. BJ is pretty simple. Michelle isn't very hard. Todd's got a lot of different numbers, but really isn't that hard. 10s and 5s, pretty easy to add up. And Hope is pretty straightforward. I see I made a mistake here. I put this in the wrong row. I'll fix that just in case anybody's looking. And then we have Matthew. Matthew is pretty simple with only 1. Okay, let's go. If you're not done, just follow along. Troy, 10 plus 10 plus 10 is 30 minus 5. You should have 25 points. But what should I do before I get to Troy? Remember this team foul right here? Carry it over here. Okay? Carry it over here to the team foul so that you remember to add it in when you do that total later on. All right, Heidi, how many points did Heidi get? 0. Now remember, she did answer one